Welcome to Tuesdays with Dr. Traci. Tuesdays with Dr. Traci. Well, I am so excited because we are here with two guests and we are in their studio, okay? Studio Melkadbar. Okay. So we're here with Gazelle and Jerusalem. We're right here in DC on Georgia Avenue. So we like to have an opportunity to have a conversation with family, with Sankofa family. A lot of times you come in and you see different faces of Sankofa and you don't know who they are. But when you connect with them, you find out you're connected to a whole new world. And so we're bringing you to a whole new world. In their studio, you will see that there are so many amazing things, photos here. You see different art pieces, jewelry, all of that. And we're going to talk about that. And we're going to get a little bit more involved, even about talking about the Sunday ritual that is done by Jerusalem, which she does so beautifully. Oh my gosh, I just wish you all could smell it and taste the bread. It is absolutely amazing. Okay, and then we have our skillful artist, also within Gazelle, who takes amazing photos, and he has all these other different skills, and we're going to get into that in just a little minute. And thank you, Michaela. Michaela was with us last time. She's here in the background, so I always like to show her some love for keeping it going. And happy Black Love Day to everybody. Happy Black Love Day. Today is Black Love Day before Valentine's Day, so sending you all so much love today. So I would like for you all to tell me about the studio. How did this get started?
So this got started when? 2016, 2017 or so. Wow. Yeah. It was before I met Jerusalem, and I have been associated with Sankofa for quite some time now, and I had the opportunity to. At the time, I was looking for a studio that I can work out of and probably sleep out of.
Keeping it real.
Yeah, because at the time I was about to move, I needed a studio, I needed a place, and I couldn't afford to have both of them at the same time. So I was looking for a space where that I could do my work and that I can experiment, and if I have to sleep and wake up and really get engaged with the work that I'm doing. And I came upon this space, which was 2 blocks down from Sankofa, where, I have been working for quite some time. And it was just a great opportunity, and it served as my studio, a nice little hideout to be able to experiment and just, a serene space. And that's how it got started. I mean, when I got this space, I think the first thing I did was have a friend of mine come over and bless the spot. I'm like, I don't know what's happened in the space before, but in moving forward, I have something very, very specific in mind, and I really need to raise the vibration of the space. So that's the first thing I did when I came to the space, and I feel like those intentions that I had have over the years really transformed myself in the space, and last year, we decided to turn it into more of a space where we can gather. Me and you were sort of my partner and my wife, and all things partners. And we decided to. So appropriate.
So appropriate, yes.
And so we decided to, really make this a space where we can share ideas with people, share our work with people, and learn from others and collaborate. And that's what the space has been since last year. So last year we rebranded this space. It used to be called Studio Milk, as you mentioned earlier. Yeah. But in 2023 we transformed the name, moved on to Melkadbar, which really I feel like encompasses both of our ideas and our visions for our vision for our work, our collective vision for our work. And so
Okay. Well, I must admit, if you all have an opportunity to come by, you definitely should. This, I mean, the vibration, as he said, you can tell this place has been blessed. It just has a very peaceful presence. It's a peaceful presence here. It's very lovely. This isn't my first time here. I've been here before, and I've had the Sunday morning coffee with Jerusalem and Gazelle and other friends from there. I've been able to meet many of their friends and network and everything. It's just really a beautiful space. Every time I come, there's great conversation. I mean, the conversation goes in every direction, and I just leave richer than what I was before I came. So that's what you get. It's just very peaceful. And you can see the golden light. It's the whole vibe that's here. So you definitely feel the love. Most definitely. But I wanted to ask you all, because both of you all are from Ethiopia. So can you tell us a little bit, both of you, tell us about who you are and your inspiration of bringing your Ethiopian culture to the United States and being able to share that with others.
Okay, I can start with that. I think we're both, one thing that made us like really connect is that we're both very much rooted in our culture. Not in a superficial way, like we love Ethiopia and da. It's more like we are that, we carry that with ourselves. And also we do change, we do grow, but we don't want to grow without kind of letting go of that. So it's a kind of an interesting balance, being able to hold on to what you have and be able to grow and grow richer in terms of culture, in terms of who we are. And I think our relationship has been that for me. It's a way for me to kind of go back, explore who I am, how I grew up, my roots, and also at the same time explore other cultures. And I think even I'm just kind of touching on the idea of being an Ethiopian and how it kind of relates to our work is we love what we have so much back home, like the smell of where we grew up, the colors, the patterns of where we grew up. That actually makes us very curious to other cultures. It's like, if this is what I have, and let's say, like I show you something, and you may not know exactly what it is because you're not rooted in the culture. And I feel the same way about other cultures too. You might show me something that feels surface level. So our curiosity to our own culture made us curious to a lot of other cultures as well, which I feel like kind of you can see in this space, but also within ourselves and within our creative work. And in terms of upbringing and who we are, I think I got a lot of the things that I do that I'm inspired by through my mother, specifically my whole family in general, but especially my mother. I feel like I strive to do the things that she's able to do effortlessly. She's able to do without having as much resources as we're able to have now, because of location, being in America, being in the U.S. and that, and also time. I guess being of this generation, you're able to have a lot of things. You have access to a lot of things. So I think our journey is really our journey trying to find the secret and the mystery of our parents and how the kind of things they birthed. And I'm like, how did you do this? So this is us kind of trying to explore that, because we have it in our blood. If I'm my mother's daughter, then I have it in me, but I have to explore it, try it and taste it, and also have to change and grow. So in a way, leaving home and coming here was kind of my hero's adventure journey, and just finding my own version of myself, or my mother in a way. And I think being with him made it, I'm not crazy for being that way, because he thinks the same way. So I guess there's still a lot that we're good. And also on top of that, we have Sankofa, which is like a grander version of that, a grander version of cultures meeting, people meeting, art meeting, and just everything kind of coming together and just birthing something else, something unique as Sankofa. So in a way, we're birthed out of Sankofa, the space as well. In our relationship, while we do everything, it's like this is the result of Sankofa too. So we're very, very grateful to Gashali Shurikana for creating that space, and then through that creating us in this space as well.
That's beautiful.
That was very
good.
Indeed.
Well, I'm going to connect that with your earlier question about the space. And when people walk in here, you know, especially if they're from somewhere else, right? And by somewhere else, I'm talking mostly in Africa. They instantly call like a certain place from their home, be like, this feels like such and such place, you know? And even more so for Ethiopians because, you know, the items are readily, you know, recognizable with East Africans in general. And because most of what you see in here are really from, you know, from Egypt, you know, basically Nubia and parts of Ethiopia and going into Tanzania. So, especially if you're from East Africa, like everyone could name a neighborhood, you know, a village, something that, you know, this place makes them think of. And I feel like, you know, this is the size of a matchbox, you know, this space.
Yeah.
But, you know, it is able to really capture this sort of nostalgia that we have for, you know, something we left behind. And being able to create that here and remind people has been interesting.
Yeah. The warmth, I can tell you, when I first walked in and I saw the photos, right? And I've been to Africa, maybe like 4 times or so, most often to Egypt. So immediately I was able to notice, you know, the southern part of what we would consider Upper Egypt in many of the photos. And I was like, oh yeah, like this looks familiar. So I can connect, so I can only imagine what it feels like for someone who lived there, where this is their home. And, you know, they come here, they're away from home, and they walk into this space. To feel that level of warmth is very welcoming, and then that gives a sense of home. Speaking of what's birthed out of Sankofa, I think that's part of the sacredness of Sankofa and what makes it so special is there are so many things birthed out of Sankofa to the wider community, which is why we really try to encourage people to come out and support Black businesses. This is another Black business when we think about the Black African global world, in essence, and being able to support. There are so many awesome things here, so many pieces, and I hope we'll get a chance to show some of this before we leave today so that you can see some of the original art pieces with jewelry and special things that you've painted. I don't know, you all maybe can't even see the painting on this table. That Jerusalem, this is absolutely amazing. The turquoise, the blues, the red, they bring all of that in today, even in what they have on. You can capture some of it from the pictures in the back. And then even in the table, she has like a picture over there with the paintings on. So I'm not going to tell you all of this. I will let them show you and talk about these pieces themselves. But you have incense and coffee, and the incense are amazing. I'm getting all of that right now. I just hope I don't levitate. So if you all see me just kind of like float up off my seat, understand it's just the, as they say, the frequency or the vibration or the energy that's in this place. And with the, you know, incense cleanses and things like that, when you think about things spiritually or energy and so forth and so on. So I'm getting all of that right now. So forgive me, just like yeah, they know I'm going to cut up. I don't think I do anything without laughing and being silly. Maybe a few days, but just about mostly everything I'm going to be laughing. But
I can see you in class.
You know, I know I laugh in class. I mean, the students sometimes they sitting there laughing at me, and I'm like, okay, maybe I need to chill. I need to chill. So, if you can just, can you all speak to your inspiration? Once you, well, let's go back. I'm not going to move it ahead of myself. Can you share some of what you do as an artist, both of you all, so they have an idea of what type of art you actually produce?
I'll let you start.
Well, so by trade, I feel like the easiest thing for me to claim is a photographer. It's the one that's been with me, I think, the longest, and one that continues to be central to most of what I do, because not only do I have a passion for it, but it also seeps into my everyday life because it affects the way I see things and sort of interact with the world and the way I enjoy all the like wonderful coincidences in nature, you know, and light and you know, and reflection, refraction, all of that. And there's so many amazing examples, and I mean, every day the sun just you know paints over us, you know what I mean? And so it really does seep into my everyday, you know, just everyday life. So photography is very essential to it. But added to that are, you know, out of really mostly out of having to work with highlight for so many years, film eventually got into my repertoire, and so I've been working as a cinematographer for short films. Started with you know, student films, but I was fortunate enough to work with Haile on the Maroon Project, which is an incredible project, soon to come out after Black Lions, Roman Wolves. And that's going to be another huge documentary on the Maroons of the United States. So I was fortunate enough to work on that, and currently working on a documentary project with Jerusalem, a partner here, and on the bagana, which is a musical instrument. We do not have it here today, unfortunately, because she can't part with it. I mean, she's so yesterday, you know, this morning we were going to spend a lot more time at home. So she's like, "I'm going to play at home." And we didn't bring it, but we should have had it here. So we started a documentary on that, and that's been incredible. We're hoping to go back soon and shoot some more. And so film is become a huge part of what I do as well now. And so these two are really what occupy most of my creative work. But outside of that, you know, when you start claiming artists, it's just something that you won't. The world is a medium in a sense, and so it really starts to come out in many different ways that you know that you know. I mean, if you look at that door right there, that was you know I've never you know really worked with that kind of a medium before, and that's like one of my favorite ones right now. So
that is beautiful. That is very beautiful. Yes, it is.
So Jerusalem here, she's an amazing photographer as well.
Yes.
But I'm gonna let her tell the rest of it.
That was very
Actually,
cool.
how do you do it? The piece that you just talked about, that piece is actually one of, I love all of your work, but that one especially is my favorite because, so it was a huge, like mirror, like standing mirror, it broke, and I was like, come on, this broke, and I left, and then I come back after hours or whatever, it was an art piece, and it was for me like something that was like, this is crazy, like I gotta watch Magnitude about things breaking now. Like, maybe I should break them.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's profound though.
Yeah, and I think that's actually really, really like a lot of people had asked to buy. I'm like, no, like that's not even in the decision at this point. That's the one piece I would not let go of because of the lesson with it. But my own practices, I think I would start with photography. That's something I've been the longest in terms of exploring art through medium. But I think I do all types of visual art. So I think multidisciplinary might be the word. I've done a little bit of work with painting, mostly patterns. I like to study Ethiopian patterns, especially in how they relate to other cultures in terms of pattern as well. We see those in dresses, in Ethiopian crosses. So I don't know, it just fascinates me where they get that design from. So I've been exploring that. Jewelry, I love colors. And I think when I see the connecting thread in all of it is whatever I see in older cultures fascinates me. And then a lot of times they're covered through time and through other stories. So we never know where these things come from. So anything that helps me explore those cultural manifestations or expressions, I kind of dive deep into. And another medium, I guess film. I can't quite claim to be a filmmaker, but I've been learning with Gashaile last year, with script writing and filmmaking in general. And I think the project that he mentioned about Bagana, which is an instrument, a spiritual instrument, strictly spiritual instrument, which I think kind of resonate with our spirits in a way. So that project has been, I think, will be our initiation to actual filmmaking. This would be something we have produced, and then once we finish that, I'll control myself as a filmmaker. So we better make that happen. Yeah, but those are the things that I explored. Yeah, and you mentioned something about Black Knights Roman Wolves earlier, and I wanted to shout out Gashali for that movie coming out, and also all of you watching this, make sure to go to sankofa.com and make sure that movie comes out fast, so donate, and Sankofa makes it easier for you, so just go to the website and support.
Yes, absolutely. We are all for that. Please, yes, go to the website and definitely support. Every dollar counts, right? Every amount counts. So don't think an amount is too small. Definitely don't think one is too big. Okay? and please help support Halle Garima's movie as well. It's two, like you said, Black Lions.
Right.
And then the
Maroons project is going to come
Project.
out, after this. So
yes.
all efforts for Black Lions Roman Wolves right now.
Yes, and it's costly. That costs, producing costs. So if you can, we ask that you help support the effort. But now I am just focusing on this piece that they were talking about. So it is, like she said, it's broken mirrors, okay? And it's on the door, and it's nostalgic for me because growing up in the 1970s, I think my mother had a mirror on just about every wall. She had a whole wall like covered in mirrors. She was obsessed with mirrors. So seeing that, it takes me back to the 1970s and just some of the colors, the warmth that the 70s produced with the golds, the mustard golds, the olives, and deep burgundies and oranges or rust. You see all of that here. So it gives me that same feeling, that warmth. It takes me back. And that's probably another way in which I connect to this space and places because I get that. The lighting, everything, it just brings me back to that time in my life. So I appreciate you all sharing this. So now that brings me to my next question is your inspiration. And so maybe if you all can maybe share a piece, like if there's a photo that's like maybe your favorite, and maybe that story connected to that, so you just kind of hear about your inspiration in the art setting for you. If you all can do that.
You start. Okay, I didn't think about that yet. Okay. Look around.
Well, I don't know if you can see it, but this photograph right here, we can go back to it. Oh, wow.
It's that little drum roll, by the way.
Yeah.
That was all for you.
Well, so I don't know if you can see it from there, but it's a photograph of a little girl who is reaching towards these balloons, and then probably way later, you'll notice that what's blocking her from actually reaching those balloons is a row of what looks like skulls. And that's sort of in the way she can't reach these balloons because of these skulls. And this photograph was really about Sudan and what they were going through. This is actually taken at a protest. They were having, but it's, this image right now, could be about Gaza, could be about, it's really about, the future of our children and, the possibilities and everything that stands in the way of those possibilities. So I felt like, these are like those wonderful coincidences that, that really speak about, this, the greater world that's happening and everything encapsulated in one little tiny event,
Yes.
So I felt like that picture just has been really speaking to me in the last several years. But it's about 3 years old, this picture.
Wow.
Yeah. But it's like, with each thing that's happening, I feel like it's a very true image to some of the things that really bother me about this world. And it's not quite the inspiration for which I make art about, but this is the kind of stuff that just takes over because just the daily course of living. So, and really, I mean, the day to day is my inspiration at this point. Is the world throws enough things at you, but like to to be inspired about, and I think if you're alive, if you're just really experiencing the world, there's no short of inspiration.
Like that. Well, you all are giving me a lot. I feel like I need to be taking notes. Both of you are being very poetic here, because that piece becomes timeless.
Right.
Because it connects to so much of, like what you said, of those dead spots in life where we can't wrap our mind around it when we think about the human condition, when we think about human dignity or life being lost, when we think about genocide as it has happened through history, how it is happening now, and unfortunately, how it may continue to happen in the future, and what role do we play with that? When you now can see the importance of art, whether it's an artistic space and place that brings serenity and peace, or whether it's a piece of art that speaks to the human condition and the hope of young children reaching for that future where they can have a better world, to be able to take hold of something that brings them to light, like a balloon, something so simplistic. And seeing that it's something almost that can lift you up, that little girl and those big old balloons, like to kind of lift them up out of that moment, and you see that, and so you can capture them, those moments. So yeah, I'm starting then you talking about the broken pieces of glass, but you took it and turned it into art, such as with life, right? How we take the broken pieces of our lives and we take and turn those things into art. See, this is about to be a very transformative experience and conversation. I told you all, if I levitate, blame them too, all right? Because these are some deep truths I think that we have to stop and consider, and I mean, whether it's the sun painting over us every day and being able to see life through a new lens, and definitely through the lens of a photographer to be able to capture these moments and to speak to that inspiration. So now it's turn. So
I can actually jump over you and then pick up the piece you mentioned earlier, because it could actually be my favorite. So this was what she was talking about earlier. So this is called a jabana. Try to keep it not dusty. But so jabana, this is the pot that we make coffee from. Actually, I have another small one here as well. The big ones are used for bigger events. So this could feed a lot of people. So they're not usually found in like regular households, especially the rural areas. They have a lot of them. And at some point, I started collecting javanas. I didn't know why at that point. Later on, it starts to reveal stuff, but I still have a lot of collection of broken javanas and javanas that are fully put together. And I started to turn them into art. They are already art, but kind of adding my own interpretation to them. It's really special to me because I know this is a woman's hand that actually literally crafted it. It's a lot of times it's made by women. It's made of Ethiopian earth or earth of Africa, I should say. And also, particularly this thing is something that connects us to, right now I can say East Africa. It could go even deeper. But you find this in Sudan, you find this in Egypt, you find this in Ethiopia, and it also has a lot of ceremony around it. It's always been something that people gather around. It's a way that communities held together, and for instance, particularly women in Ethiopia get together almost every morning or sometimes we drink coffee at night to their culture, so we do that and we connect and work over your issues, work over things, also a lot of times this is how knowledge is transferred between generations, so this really symbolizes a lot of things. And in terms of my contribution into this particular piece, the colors and the patterns that I used are to an extent Ethiopian, modern day, current day Ethiopia and Egypt. If you go back far in time, they probably were one or are one for sure. So this is, and the way that I use the pattern on it is for me to say like we're one, and this is something that connects us. So this has been, and in terms of like painting javanas, this was the first one, and it turned out to be still my favorite one. I haven't done anything. I like the ones I've done after that, but this was something that I it just came out right first. So yeah, this is I would say one of my favorite pieces.
Wow. And see, I know they weren't expecting all of that. I know I wasn't expecting all of that. Now that was a whole history of mouthful right there, an opportunity for you to actually get a taste of Ethiopian culture. You can still hear the community, the family, the love, the passing down of history, which I think is very important, which leads to another question about cultural preservation, you know, and being able to keep those traditions and being able to pass them on and share them with others and using art as a medium to be able to share that, to be able to bring people together and to be able to share those stories. So would you all like to speak to that or what your experience has been with that?
I think it's something I have a lot of opinions and a lot of questions about. I think that's for both of us. I think that's something we have in common. Is this desire to know where we're from, not in the sense of like DNA or whatever, that we already know, but also like you have this rituals, but you don't know why those rituals become those rituals. People give you, oh, that's just how your forefathers did it. That doesn't really explain much. So, and also we're at a very peculiar time where we actually have a chance to look at things before they fully disappear. Maybe I'm being pessimistic in saying they will disappear, but a lot of things are diminishing in front of our eyes. For instance, I went back to my home country, Ethiopia, last year, and a lot of things that should not have been touched were destroyed. And that's what I've seen. That doesn't include some things that are not tangible, cultures, or the inner values and things like that that slowly deteriorate through poverty, through political issues, economic issues, and a lot of things. So we do have the chance at this time, with this generation, to preserve things because we still can see those things still going away. But we all have to be in a place where we're curious first to figure out what it is that we're losing and what they mean for us in terms of now, not the superficial how it looks, how people dress, but who we are at our essence, our values. So I think cultural preservation is something that I don't know, we need to do for ourselves and also for the coming generation, for it defines who we are. If we don't define ourselves now, find that out, then we be defined by the people who we may not appreciate their decision making or their views. And a lot of times I look back, especially as I grow older, I look back and I admire those folks that did not go to modern schools or anything. Their thoughts and beliefs and their imagination is mind-boggling for me. The poetry, for instance, particularly Ethiopia, the poetry, the music. I'm like, where do they get this from? Really, it's really so far away from where we are right now. So to start, cultural preservation starts by cultural awareness and discovery. And I think people need to explore that. I think if you have cameras, if you have a paintbrush, if you have a pen, you're soldiers in a way. And soldiers not to destroy, but to protect. Not just your own little hometown, but the world. And you do that when you protect your own town, your own culture, then you protect something for the world as well, you know? So I think that's by far the most important thing. I think cultural preservation for me, and for our own sake. I don't know what I'm doing with it, but it's just something that I know that I breathe and live with those thoughts.
Wow.
You know, listening to you, I even forgot what the question was about, but I felt like, but that was great. But I enjoyed talking to her.
See, yes, yes, I can see why, absolutely.
But I think it's a great point. And there's I feel like the telescoping nature of time is becoming a bit more apparent now, and that like things are changing at a rate that seems to be faster in a sense. And this sort of change is coming not with the awareness of the past, but really just sort of, even before you get a grasp of, the now, it's like on to the next, on to the next. And so I feel like you drop a lot in trying to like keep up, you know what I mean? And sometimes, you forget things that are really important that were preserved through time. And so I think it's really important and that's what we really, I feel like a lot of our inspiration for filmmaking really comes from the fact that film is one of the best ways to preserve these things and to bring back these things into the collective imagination and really, like preserve these things that have been kept alive for us for so long. I don't really like this idea of like technology erasing useful things from the past. It doesn't have to come at the cost of amazing things that we've already brought to life. You know what I mean? It's I like the convenience it brings, but it doesn't have to come at the cost of the loss of amazing things that like film is a great example, whether it's like still life or whether it's moving images. Film has a certain quality that's way different than what the digital is bringing. These are things that should really coexist, and yet I feel like the subtle qualities that were in film, which amaze me when I go back and look at things that have been extracted out of film that was shot 30 years ago, and when I see just the beauty of it and the colors, and it's there's so much more in that image than when we switched over into this like digital craze, and it wasn't quite good, and we shot so much stuff with really low quality digital, you know what I mean, that even if you bring it to to these wonderful screens that we have now, you'll see the loss, you know what I mean, in that transition that we made. And so in a sense, this Sankofa journey needs to happen with all of it, and so going back and go forward.
Yes, right. You see all of that right there, and it also speaks to the power of storytelling. Excuse me, because what I'm hearing from you all is you're telling your stories, but then you're also telling the story of your families, of your communities, and of our wider community globally, and how that is important to bring together the collectivity that you're speaking of. And so many times, I think this is how the masses are able to learn and able to connect and able to have that collective experience, to be able to take that out in order to be able to mobilize, or to become curious, or aware of this, that, or the other, so that they can have that level of consciousness or something that makes them say, well, let me go research this. I didn't know about that. Like, I'm sure through this conversation tonight that someone's going to hear something that's going to make them say, oh, let me go research that. What type of instrument was that again? And it's used in a spiritual way. Well, I need to cleanse my spirit tonight. Let me find out what instrument that is and see if I can learn how to play. So she left out that she's a musician as well. Yes, if you're playing something better than me, okay? Yes, I cannot claim to be a musician, okay? I do claim to be an electrician because I know how to change a light bulb. That's it. But other than that, so I think that is very important in learning to take those broken pieces and being able to share that with the rest of the world, and learning how to, you used the term, I think, reimagine and rebrand was something earlier, and being able to take those things and reimagine it and rebrand it so that we continue to evolve, that we continue to live, so that even with technology and all its advances, we still don't lose that human side, that very natural side, that which is connected to nature, where we can continue to find ourselves, be grounded, centered, and grow and expand and bring that back, because we do need time away from these devices, I was looking at something even where, what's the guy who owns Apple? The guy with the white hair. I can't, that's
Talking about Steve
terrible.
Jobs.
Who?
Who, the former Steve Jobs, the owner?
The owners, yeah, Apple, that creator, that guy.
Yes.
He was like, he never made these devices for people to look at all day. He said, if it's keeping you from having eye-to-eye contact with humans,
Right.
he said, then it's not serving you. You know, pretty much is what he was saying. He was like, no, that's not the purpose of these
I think I
devices.
heard that he doesn't give it to his kids or something like that.
Yeah.
Something like
So I was
that.
like, why are we giving it 2 hours? Everybody knew which one to do. But yeah, so this is very good. So one of the other things, you have the coffee celebration that you do, and you all brought up mothers earlier, and after we share this, and then you all can share how people can, find out more about the studio, get in touch, and be able to come in, because you all have amazing pieces that people can actually buy and purchase. I'm going to give you something today. Okay, you have creams, you have hand creams, you have cards, black cards, you have jewelry. So they have things that they've made, but also that others within the community have bought. So you have a really Black experience as far as what you're purchasing here, and it's very unique and very unique in many ways to Ethiopian culture. But I wanted to be able to share, because you were mentioning about your mom and some of the things that you mentioned in reference to the morning coffee tradition. But you also, well, I know at one time you mentioned, because your mom gives the spices that's used to make the pound cake. So you see how prevalent moms are in every part or aspect of our lives, and being culture keepers as well. Being able to pass down those traditions, even the mixture of spices, to create a certain flavor and taste, to be able to share. And like the pound cake bread, did I say it was delicious? Trust me, it is. The coffee is amazing. I can't drink as much coffee because of the caffeine, but I'm telling you, when you taste it, it is absolutely delicious. I had to taste it, because you can't pass it up after you smell the coffee beans roasting. And so if you all could just share a little bit about that and what that tradition means to you.
So I think the coffee ceremony is like our binding activity, I should say. And I think being in the US, a lot of times you don't see coffee being roasted right there. A lot of people don't even know that coffee, when it's not roasted, is green. I've had people, oh my God, it's green, the bean. I say, oh yeah, oh my God, that's green. That's wild to me, because I grew up like drinking coffee when I was barely speaking, because it was just something that we all shared. And I think it did a lot for my family, as it was doing for a lot of other families. So something that, you can eat dinner and you can have your own plate and watch your own TV or read your own book, but like there's just something mystical about it that I cannot explain, that it just brings you together when the coffee's smelling. And I remember when I was back home, I would come from school, and so we have this mat that we put on the floor for the coffee ceremony. It just has a distinct look. And for my particular, for our particular house, when the door slightly cracked, you can see whether that thing is on the floor or not. And I go to the compound, like, if I don't see that, just my heart breaks. Because the house kind of feels a little cold. It just there's a warmth that it brings. There's a certain feeling of like liveliness that it brings. And also when I was back home, when my family asked me to make coffee, or come on, I don't want to do it, or all of that, because I never knew the value. But when I moved here, and every single day, when I was back home, I wanted to always be somewhere else, be traveling. When you are outside and traveling, all you want to do is just go back home. It's kind of interesting, but and then in that journey of trying to be back home while I'm here, I started making coffee at home. And a lot of times, actually, my sister, she used to live here in DC with me, and every single time we meet, we make coffee. It's just for the two of us, but we just don't do anything without coffee. And with the whole ceremony, and it really brought back home to us while we're away from it. And even for when we started living together, even when we had little arguments or whatever, we're not able to face each other, to talk to each other. It's been like coffee has been the one thing that just made us like, when things have settled and we're in a place where we can talk to each other, but we don't have an icebreaker in a way, I'll just make coffee and we'll just talk over it. And
Yeah.
so it did a lot of healing. So when we started thinking about this place and how we want to get people and, you know, how we want to build this community, I know that coffee was something that I wanted to share with people. And when I do it, it's one of those things that whether people come or not, whether we make a lot of money or not, I do it like it's a devotion for me. It's a devotion towards culture. It's a devotion for whoever is coming, and also being creative. You know, I do these things traditionally, but I also explore with my own spicing, with my own way of making it. Because I know I'm changing something that I've gotten from my family, but I'm also native, and I also have in a way have the opportunity and the right to move it forward, to use ingredients and things that I find here to be even more creative. So now we do it Sunday mornings. When it's like cold season, we don't do it. But in the warmer season, like probably in the February, starting in February, we will have coffee ceremonies every Sunday. During summer, when there's grass, we actually go to our neighbors and cut their grass, and just so the house will be filled with fresh grass, the smell of fresh grass, because that's also something very symbolic. For instance, when people have like fights in certain traditional areas, if a woman goes to a place holding fresh cut grass, the people cannot say no, because there's a lot of symbolism towards fresh grass. So that's also something I want to learn more about. So we just try to really bring in all the information we can find about that tradition and live it. And if you want to live it with us, it's a pleasure. Come join us. If you don't, you're missing out.
Clearly.
Well, as far as the coffee is concerned, it's everything she said. But the thing about it that's also interesting to me is, I don't think I have it up right now, but there is a photograph in there, and so what I find interesting about this ceremony, and it's probably much older than we say it is, because we find it really all throughout the Nile. So as you make your way, up the Blue Nile, where it connects, and then all the way out, Egypt, you will see this ceremony in its own, with its own style, where depending on where you are, but using very similar vessel and very similar cups to drink out of, and the rounds of three, and so many of the traditions around this ceremony are practiced in at least 3 different countries now. And so I'm very much interested in this relationship of the Nile Valley amongst the countries that share this river, and I explored in my photography, and so for me it's very interesting to have this experience with people, especially from that region, where they might do it a different way, but we're not even aware of each other's. Like I was not aware when I went to Aswan that they drink coffee in the same manner that we do, and they certainly didn't know. And we have the same name for the vessel,
Yeah.
Or we both call it Joanna, and so the surprise was what surprised me about it all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The fact that they were equally as surprised as I was, and it's so interesting how geographically we're so close. In every way we can think of, we're so close, and yet there is a great distance put between us. To the point where we have forgotten how related we are.
Yes.
And so for me, I think it's a very interesting way of exploring that connection.
Yes. That's very interesting, especially when you think about Nile Valley civilization.
Right.
And the Nile stretches to over 4,000 and something miles,
Right.
4,100 miles.
Right.
And so when you think about the cultures that developed and that actually merged along that entire Nile Valley basin, it's amazing how you see the similarities. One of the things that I realized is that the hospitality, especially in southern, it's actually Upper Egypt, we consider it southern, looking at it,
Right.
in the Swan area and things
Right.
like that, and Filet, it's amazing. They're so hospitable. And that was one of the first things I noticed in my interactions with Ethiopians. is that they were very hospitable and most often would offer like tea or coffee or something like that, right? So it's amazing how the cultures blend. So I would love to see after you've researched this further what other things you come up with, especially using the medium of photography. And now, see, you all have been missing out. You did not know that you need to have coffee to help make up. See, this is what and you need to get you some fresh cut grass if you asking for something and you don't want the person to say no. So I'm about to go get me a lawnmower. Find somebody. I'm gonna
Two major secrets dropped today.
Yes,
Okay,
I'm
fresh
gonna.
grass and coffee.
Yes, grass and coffee. Grass and coffee. The whole look. I'm about to go out to my sister's house, ask my brother-in-law if I can buy the lawnmower and just cut some grass. I'm going to take that fresh cut grass, smell it, and share it. And I'm definitely going to utilize some coffee. Man, now coffee sales going to go up. Matter of fact, you all might as well come to Sankofa and get the coffee. It's right there. But this is another way of being able to join a community. And y'all, it's really good.
You're not going to sleep tonight.
I'm not going to sleep tonight. And that's probably from one step, okay? I need to stay up anyway, so that's probably really good, but it's always delicious. It is so fresh. So I would like to thank Gazal and Jerusalem for sharing so much of their lives, their love, their culture, their family, their artwork. But if someone wants to come by and visit, because you all have pieces here for sale, like Jerusalem's earrings. You see, she has all types of beautiful jewelry. They have, what's this, like honey or jam? Honey. They have a hand cream, which I've tried before. I'm leaving with one tonight to do that. And she has beautiful bracelets that she makes as well. So you have to be able to see. And there are many other things around here. The photography, I know that Gazal has some photos that you can also purchase. So look, it's a little bit of everything here. So you have to make sure you stop by. So I'm gonna allow them to tell you the information, how to get in touch, how to get here, the hours, and where maybe to find them online. Okay, so if you all can share that good information with the good people.
Okay, well, so we have a website, melkadbar.com, Melkadbar, Melkadbar. I don't know if you can see it up there, but it's that's a good way to get in touch with us and find out what we have going on. We also have Instagram.
Melkadbar
Arts, yeah. That's the Instagram. So those are the two ways. So like she said, we will have regular coffee events on Sundays, but also we have other gatherings and events that we periodically host. So it'll be posted on Instagram for people to find out. So that would be the best way. And then if people want to come by, we can also do an appointment by going on the website, and they can set up an appointment, and we can do a personal visit.
Yes. See?
So yeah, that's the best way.
And I think the one thing I would add would be it's a creative collaborative space, and I think our main goal is also to learn from each other and also to help each other up. And right now we're the ones kind of running the space, but luck and by grace, however it is. But we want to have the space open for other creative. If they have things that they would like to share, it could be information, it could be lessons, it could be craft that they made. If they are looking for a space, if our values and their values align, then we're definitely happy to. Just the way Sankofa has been a place for us to be, this is also a place for other creatives. So if by any means you're interested in being part of our community, we'll definitely invite you, and we're happy to. We look forward to meeting all of you creatives.
Yes, that's great. Well, thank you all. Thank you for joining us with Tuesdays with Dr. Traci and here with Gazal and Jerusalem. This has been amazing. I'm geeked. I'm excited. And I'm leaving with so much. I won't allow you all to see me levitate today, but I promise you when I go home, that probably will happen. And it's just one of the places, and I hope you all can feel what we're feeling being here and what this space has to offer. And it is another sacred Black space that I enjoy coming into. So I hope you all can feel that love and light that's emanating from this space and place, because that is the love and light that we send to you on this Black Love Day, and with tomorrow being Valentine's Day. So love you all much and stay safe.
But we definitely have to say thank you so much for Dr. Traci for coming here. All the times you've been here, the conversation we've had, I'm like, I wish I recorded the whole thing. So it's always a pleasure to have you, and thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Michaela, for taking the time, setting up, and we genuinely appreciate you. So much gratitude for the two of you. Thank you so much for being here.
We appreciate you and the conversation and the love. So thank you, Bo. Thank you, Bo. Love you much. Mwah.